Yo, it's your boy Smoke Bath and Madden video. Today's video we're going to be going over single NFL teams' biggest draft needs and who they should pick up in the NFL draft. Now, obviously, some teams are a lot better than others and they don't quite need as much as a team like the Philadelphia Eagles. They don't need a whole lot, but they still have three positions that they could fill. So we are going to do the three positions for every single team. We're going to go alphabetical order. Before going into everything, make sure you guys leave a like and subscribe. Starting off with the Arizona Cardinals, I think their biggest priority they should address in the draft is offensive line. They don't have an impressive offensive line, and they did lose their starting guard/center, Evan Brown, in this free agency. And then I would also say their second most important position is cornerback and then receiver. Their cornerback is weak. I mean, their secondary, they do have Budda Baker, though. And then receiver, they had Marvin Harrison, and that's really about it. Atlanta Falcons, they need an edge rusher for sure. And I would also say get a center because they did lose Drew Dahlman. And especially if you're going to put a lot of faith into Michael Penix, you're going to need him to have a decent offensive line. And losing your best offensive lineman is not ideal. And defensive back, now they did lose Justin Simmons in free agency as well, so hopefully try to replace him. Baltimore Ravens, I would say they need a defensive back for sure. Even though they did draft Nate Wiggins and he seems all right, I would say they need one more key piece on defensive back. Their offensive line play isn't bad, but it is not great. And then they definitely need a true number one receiver. They've been needing that for years. Buffalo Bills, they kind of need a cornerback for sure. I mean, they tried drafting Elam like 3 years ago in the first round. He had a little bit of hype, not a whole lot, but he didn't pan out to the first round pick he was taken. So the Buffalo Bills definitely need a cornerback. Now, Carolina Panthers, they can kind of need a little bit of everything if we're being honest, but edge rusher would definitely be nice. A nice stud edge rusher would help that defense out a lot. They need a true receiver. Now, they do have Adam Thielen, but he is very old. Now, the Chicago Bears, they need an edge rusher as well. Chicago Bears actually don't need a whole lot, surprisingly. Even though they do have a high pick, they are not a bad rounded out team. I would say they need a true edge rusher. They need a running back for sure. And I would say safety. Other than that, they don't need a whole lot. They built up their offensive line a lot this offseason. Now, the Cincinnati Bengals, if we're being honest, I could have just put any position on defense. But if we're being more specific, let's go ahead and say they need a linebacker, like a middle linebacker who will be efficient in the run game. And I also said defensive line and offensive line for the Cincinnati Bengals. Cleveland Browns, they definitely need a quarterback as their biggest need. Two, I would say edge rusher. Yeah, they do have Myles Garrett, but I like the Cleveland Browns secondary a lot. I don't think they need that. I think even just a decent edge on the other side of Myles Garrett would be very scary. And the Dallas Cowboys, I think they need a receiver. I think they need a running back and defensive back. So receiver is obviously kind of quite clear. They literally just have CeeDee Lamb, and that is it. Running back, I mean, they did lose. Well, Zeke was out of his prime, and then they lost Tony Pollard. So, yeah, running backs are not looking great for the Cowboys. And the running backs aren't looking great for the Broncos either. So the Denver Broncos definitely, they need a stud running back at some point. And they also need defensive tackle to help them out in the run game a lot, and they also need a receiver. I like Courtland Sutton, but him being your number one guy with not having a scary second option is it's very mediocre at best. Detroit Lions, now, I say their biggest need's an edge rusher. They need somebody on the other side of Aiden Hutchinson. He can't do it all himself. And then I would say cornerback because they did lose Carlton Davis, unfortunately. Green Bay Packers, they need defensive line, a wide receiver, and defensive back. I like the wide receiving core for Green Bay. It's just not good enough. I like the guys. I like Romeo Doubs. I like Christian Watson. I just think they're all mediocre. I just feel like they're all solid seconds, I guess. Second options, and none of them is a true number one. I feel like they need a true number one. Defensive back, they really only got Jair Alexander, and he's been injured the last 2 seasons. So, I mean, they do have Xavier McKinney. I did misspeak. They have Xavier McKinney. He definitely had a breakout year last year. Houston Texans definitely need offensive line. Their offensive line is probably bottom 5, at least bottom 10 in the league. So definitely the Houston Texans need offensive line. Indianapolis Colts, they need tight end very badly. And they also need linebacker and cornerback. Tight end, though, I put that number one because that would be nice. And this is a tight end heavy class. There are 3 tight ends that might potentially go in the first. I don't know if it will happen, but there are 3 tight ends who might go in the first, such as Taylor Warren, Colston Loveland. So Indianapolis Colts would love to pick them up. Jacksonville Jaguars need a defensive back for sure. Then you also need offensive line help protect Trevor Lawrence. But I was going to say they could try to go after Travis Hunter since he is a receiver, but I think they are going to value protecting their quarterback a little bit more. Kansas City Chiefs, they are a really good team, obviously. They don't need a whole lot. I would say they do need offensive line, though, especially after losing Joe Thunley. That's a pretty big loss. I would say an edge rusher as well and a linebacker. Las Vegas Raiders, defensive back for sure. Their defensive back. Their secondary has been embarrassing for years. Quarterback, they need to find their true quarterback. Geno Smith, he could try to mentor somebody, but they need a young quarterback, and they need a linebacker, especially after losing Robert Spillane. Los Angeles Chargers, honestly, I could have just put receiver, but since we're doing 3 position groups, I guess I'll put defensive line and tight end as well. The Los Angeles Chargers, though, for the love of God, they need to get Justin Herbert some weapons. I know they've been trying a little bit more recently, and the Quentin Johnston pick hasn't panned out that great, but they still need to draft another receiver. Now the Los Angeles Rams, and I was debating putting quarterback here for the Rams, but I think they'll stick out one more year with Matt Stafford, and I don't think they're going to pull the trigger on quarterback yet, just of where they draft, but they do need defensive back. Now the Miami Dolphins, they need offensive line help, and they need it fast for Tua's sake. I mean, Tua has had a really unfortunate career so far with injuries, and it's not even like his offensive line used to be bad, but it is bad now. Considering Teron Armstead retired, Tua definitely needs a solid tackle on the offensive line for him. Minnesota Vikings, I went cornerback, and I think they need a safety as well, if we're being honest, and they might even take one in the first round. If they don't, I think they'll take a safety in the second, and then defensive tackle is their third most important position to address. Minnesota Vikings, though, are honestly a pretty surprisingly good team, though. New England Patriots, I say receiver, and that's where I kind of see Travis Hunter going, if I'm being honest. It just depends where Travis Hunter is actually going to play in the NFL, but I could see him being a receiver for the Patriots. The Patriots do need offensive line help, for sure. The New Orleans Saints, I would say they need cornerback and offensive line help, for sure. So cornerback, I mean, they got rid of Marshawn Lattimore. Offensive line help, I know they've been addressing that like the last 3 years in the draft, so I don't know if they'll take one of the top 2 picks, or maybe not even top 3. And I also put a quarterback. With all the rumors going on, Shedeur Sanders has potential of going to New Orleans. Shedeur Sanders also has potential of going this team, the New York Giants. I mean, a lot of people said that was going to happen. The New York Giants, they definitely do need a quarterback. They need an offensive lineman for sure, and they need linebacker. Let's be honest, the New York Giants kind of need a little bit of everything. Now the New York Jets, they need an offensive line as well. They need a quarterback, kind of, not as bad as the Giants, but the Jets do need a quarterback because Justin Fields, I mean, they don't trust him as a starter. I mean, the Bears didn't trust him as a starter. Then the Steelers didn't even trust him as a starter. Now he's going to New York, and I don't think Justin Fields is bad, but I don't know if he's going to be your exact franchise kind of guy and change the whole system around, especially with the New York Jets not having a great team. Philadelphia Eagles, they don't need much, but defensive back, I guess, would be the most important position, or getting an edge rusher since they lost Josh Sweat. Pittsburgh Steelers, they definitely need a quarterback considering they lost Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. And I would say they also need cornerback, even though they did draft Joey Porter Jr. 2 years back. I wouldn't say Joey Porter Jr. is bad quite yet, but there's starting to be some regret of the Steelers drafting him. And they definitely need running back, especially after losing Najee Harris. San Francisco 49ers, now the 49ers absolutely blew up their defense with this past offseason, so they need a lot of defensive help. I would say defensive line is the most important. Then I would go safety, but it's really neck and neck. I mean, you could make the argument that safety is more important for the 49ers. The Seattle Seahawks, they definitely need offensive line, and especially when you're getting Sam Darnold, you want a fresh start. I mean, the offensive line in Seattle has not been good for the last 3 and 5 years, but definitely, if you want Sam Darnold to actually flourish like he did in Minnesota, you're going to want to get help. And also get receiver help, considering DK Metcalf is now a Pittsburgh Steelers, on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I would say they don't need a whole lot. They're kind of like the Bears. They're a well-rounded out team. It's just some of the quality isn't the highest. But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are a pretty complete team, but I would say they need cornerback and offensive line help. Tennessee Titans, now they have the first overall pick. They could do whatever they want, and I think the big question is, are they going to go Cam Ward? Are they going to go Abdul Carter? I'm leaning towards Cam Ward slightly just because he is a quarterback, but I could totally see them going Abdul Carter. It wouldn't be a bad pick. Now, the Washington Commanders, I would say their most important piece is an edge rusher. Then I would say their second most important piece is a running back, and then third is a defensive back. Now, they do need a solid edge rusher, but can you think how scary the Commanders would be if they were able to get a really good running back in this draft, like an Amarian Hampton or Quashad Junkins? I mean, that would make the Washington Commanders it would like separate them from being a good team to an elite team, I think. That is every NFL's team's 3 biggest position needs in the 2025 NFL Draft. If you guys enjoy this kind of content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content. And turn those post notifications on so you get notified every single time we post. See you in the next video. Bye.